Three, two, one. Hello, John. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, sir. How are you?
I'm not too bad, bud. Not too bad. It's just us at the moment. We're not too sure if Mr. McDermott is joining us or not.
Yep,
But that's not going to stop us, mate. This is the new world order here at UTC, and this is what
yep.
we do. Someone's here, we keep going.
That's it.
Happy birthday to your daughter for last week.
Thank you very much.
It was yeah. Did she have a good day, mate?
She had a great day. We actually dragged the birthday out over a few days.
Yeah, we do that. It's like a
So
bit of a festival. Yeah.
yeah. So we had, her birthday on the Thursday. So that was dinner, and then we'd actually had a school thing as well that day,
Hmm.
and then we ended up having a party on the Saturday. Sorry,
Nice,
the Sunday as well.
nice.
So it was a good,
Good few days.
good few days of birthday
And
for
she
her.
she
So
she felt the love, mate. That's the important thing.
yep.
We're going to kick off, mate, with I wanted to show you some of the Aussie stuff. So I know you've been doing a bit of homework around the Triptych stuff, some of our old episodes. However, you can't see it, so I'd like to show you. And there's a few things we can talk about, and maybe Mr. McDermott might rock up at some point along that
Yep.
trail. If not, that's all good. We'll just keep rolling on.
That's it.
So I like this side by side. Actually, I'm going to stick with the side by side and bringing up an old slideshow. Triptych Echoes is the slideshow, and this is the episode that everyone should probably go and listen to. You will be able to see or hear me go through this slideshow. This was the first lot of research that we did on the triptych because we started to investigate what was with Australia. As we can see here, we've got Melbourne on the left and St Mary's on the right. Now, there's more than one slide that we'll go through. But you can see the classic triptych architecture more in St Mary's on the right with the middle
Hmm.
window. You've got the two arches, you've got the left, the right. Very, very triptych orientated. However, even the front of the Melbourne church, it's got the hall goes off to the right, but the very front of it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's your flower window. There's your two spires. It echoes the symbolism, right?
Yes.
Now, part of the research that has happened since we did that episode is all these Gothic cathedrals. Now, they're all over Australia. Then Adelaide is the city of churches. You could go nuts in Adelaide.
Hmm.
There's so many different places. There's one in the middle of nowhere in Warwick in Queensland, along with a massive Masonic temple.
Hmm.
And the thing is, too, it's not just the churches, is it? Because here in Australia, the post office is also one of the buildings that's built like that, isn't it? Right? The post
Yep.
office, the council building, the courthouse, depending on what
Yep.
town you're in. They're all built with this massive stone, not massive, not like megalithic stone, but large stone structures, right? And they're all built with the same stone and they're built with the same precision and perfection from whoever built these. Now, I
Mm.
think whoever built these is maybe a discussion I'd like to start with because if you go back to when these were built, depending on what timeline, I mean, we're talking 1800s, right? Technically, so let's say Melbourne, well, let's say Sydney. Sydney is the most populous city
Mm.
in Australia.
Yep.
Actually, maybe, mate, let's do some stuff. When was St Mary's built in Sydney? When was St Mary's built in Sydney? Because I'd be curious as to when it was built, and then we'll do the Australian population total of that at that same period.
Yep. Let's have a look here.
Because
1866 it
1866
started
it
and
started, yeah.
finished in 1928.
Really? So
Mm.
it did take 3 generations.
Yeah. However, there are parts of the original design, the southern spires, that were only completed in 2000.
Really?
So it's dragged all. So actually, so the foundation stone was laid in 1821. In 1865, the church was destroyed by a fire and then
Mm.
was rebuilt between 1866 and 1928. So that's the southern section, which was 1866 to 1900,
Mm.
and the northern section, and then the southern section was 1912 to 1928. And then the two spires were put on in 2000. So yeah,
That's
decent
interesting.
amount of time for that.
That's interesting.
Mm.
So, okay, so 1821 to 1865. So a version of the church, the first version of the church was built during that time, would have been and it would have been the front. The front of it would have been like that.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's ask the question then, what was the total Australian population, let's say 1840, curiously? Because remember, too, all these churches are being built at the same time. We are led to believe that all these churches are being built at the same time.
Yep. So what year was it?
40.
1865. 18, yep, 1840.
Because it'd be curious because it doesn't,
229,500 approximately in
in
1840.
1840, so 230,000 people total
Mm-hmm.
in this entire country.
Yep.
And all these churches are being built to this Gothic standard at the same time. And as you say, the founding stone was laid in 1821.
Yep.
I mean, that means so 229,000. I imagine Sydney. Well, Sydney would have been the most populous because that's obviously Botany Bay and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But in Melbourne, in Brisbane, like these are not really even established cities or towns. I don't think by then. There's the gold rushes that are going up and down the east coast during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, culminating in the Ballarat gold rush in the 1850s. But prior to that, it was up here in Gympie in Queensland. It was prior or after. I'm not too sure on the timeline there.
Yep.
However, so in the 1800s, in the early 1800s, numerous Gothic cathedrals were built in Australia when the population was under 250,000 people total.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Correct.
Make that make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, if you go into the idea of the traveling masons,
Yes, that was a yeah.
that's you know, did they come here, build their cathedrals, and then bugger off back to wherever or go
Or
somewhere
did they
else?
stay?
Or did they stay? And look, I'm sure that there were some that did stay,
Mm.
hence the Masons in Australia at the moment. Um, but yeah, but I there is that the story that the Masons did travel around where the money was. So they
Mm.
would move from city to city, country to country, um, following the request of whoever was wanting something built, and that's what they did. So
Well,
there's
the other theory behind that one is also that they were escaping. Well, the main guild was escaping
mhm,
France in the late 1700s. Australia was founded in 1788,
mm,
early 1800. So they would have maybe seen this as a faraway place to run away from the ire of the church in Europe.
mm,
However, these churches are still built to that standard, that same Gothic
mm,
standard with the same symbology that we see.
yep,
Not to the grandeur, not to the grandeur of the Notre Dame or anything else like that.
mm,
However, they're definitely. I mean, as you say, you look at the St Mary's in Sydney on the right. That is definitely a triptych church.
yeah,
It's not even a question, right?
yep,
It's definitely built to that standard, and even the Melbourne one as well definitely
mm,
shows the triptych architecture for sure.
yep,
So these are both in Victoria as well, right? So I mean, this is the thing. It's not just one Gothic church that is built. It's
yep,
multiple Gothic churches built in the same style.
mm,
And, here's a different take on it on the right here. You've still got the three windows and the flower of life and stuff like that.
mhm.
However, it's more of a, looks like more of a hall than a church, doesn't it?
It
So
does, yeah,
it's,
yeah,
and it just continues, right?
mm,
So this is all Hallows in Queensland. Actually, while I'm doing this, what is the oldest Masonic lodge in Australia, out of curiosity, and
good
where?
question.
Um, and again, with all these, all Hallows in Queensland, that's the girls' school. Kath went to that school
Hmm.
back in the day. And this is, the curious one. Have a look at this. This is the polygonal masonry wall in Gympie. This
Yeah,
is
okay.
Surface Hill, right?
Mm.
Now it's not super triptych, however, it
No,
definitely has the
it's
three
well,
windows.
it's
It's
got
definitely a
it's got a double door at the front, which is interesting. That's different.
mm,
And then it's got the two, sorry, the
two
four windows in the middle there, and they got the two
flower of lives. Yeah,
flower,
it's
yeah.
mm,
And then but then you've still got the three pillars above. And
mm,
then you've got the two spires with the peak as well. So
mm.
that to me looks kind of more Masonic than than
which
Triptych,
which is
which is the
curious.
same, but it's
It is the
also,
same, but
yeah.
it's curious that the polygonal masonry wall ended up around Surface Hill.
Mm,
The other curious thing about this church is I must have been there 10 times now.
yep.
It's never open.
Yeah.
You can never get in, ever.
Okay.
Uh,
Interesting.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone. I don't think I've ever
Mm,
seen the door open in all the
interesting.
times that I've been there or even driven past there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you are right. It does echo more Masonic. And it's
Mm,
sort of like the more I think about this polygonal wall, yes, they say it was taken from somewhere,
mm,
but part of it feels like it was designed for that space, right? I
yeah.
think it was designed to be there. It's curious, man. Curious,
Mm,
curious,
mm.
curious.
Yeah. Getting back to your question about what's the oldest lodge in Australia. Um, so the oldest one they said is Lodge Antiquity Number One, originally the Australian Social Lodge of the United Grand Lodge of New South Wales and ACT, which held its first meeting in Sydney on the 30th of August, 1820. It was
Think
formed
about
under,
that. When did you say? When did the first stone get laid for the church? 1821.
yeah, yeah.
That's curious.
So look, from what I know of United Grand Lodge, um, well, the one that I do know of in Sydney is in a building, which is, completely different to what it would have been back
Oh,
in
the
the
one in the
day.
one in Sydney looks like it's a evil mastermind's headquarters. Same with the one here in
Yeah,
Brisbane. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Whereas a lot of the blue lodges, as they call them, they're the sort of the entry level,
Mm.
one to, first to third degree
Yeah.
lodges, which we have one here in Cooma.
Mm. Oh
I
yeah,
used
no,
to, I used to
there's
be a
one
part of
around.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one about just in every town. Like
Mm.
we've got two, two in our region. We used to have more, but they've since been, changed into other things. But, yeah, they're interesting. But you probably know a lot about masonry, and so do probably a lot of people. But there's two branches of it. Once you sort of get to the third degree, you move into those two branches a bit
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
and you go in different directions until you reach 33.
Mm.
So not that that has anything to do with this, but we're talking about the triptych. But
Well,
yeah.
no, the thing is that this is all this it's all connected.
Mm, mm.
Going actually, I recommended our Everything is Connected series to a person that wanted to be a coder today. So
Cool. Awesome.
everything is connected, right? And it's sort of thing.
Yes.
And if we go back to Surface Hill, we can see the glass here, right? There's your flower of
Mm.
life in the glass,
Yes.
okay? And you've got the different, there's some of the cross hatching and that sort of thing. The
Mm.
thing about some of this glass too, I'm not too sure if it's the stuff in Australia, but I know definitely the stuff in Europe, they don't know how to replicate it. It
Yeah.
refracts
Okay.
light in a very strange way,
Yep.
and they're not sure how they did it or how they can actually replicate it. It's quite
Interesting.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is very interesting. It is
Mm.
very interesting. But the St. Patrick's at Gympie took it to another level because that is definitely triptych,
100%. Yeah.
right? To the
Yep.
point you've got Mary on the left and St. Patrick on the right. So you've
Yep.
actually got the feminine and the masculine,
Hmm.
the left and the right, the Jake and the Boaz, like it, and you've
Yeah.
got the middle door, you've got the three windows, you've got the three spires, right? And it's
Yep.
actually left feminine, right masculine.
Yeah.
And that's only around the corner. Now, this is a small
Mm.
gold town in Gympie. Now, there's
Yep.
nothing magnificent about this church. It's an impressive
Mm.
old church.
Yep.
However, the triptych architecture that it represents, see, there's Mary, and she's even holding the moon, right?
Mm.
And St.
Mhm.
Patrick's stepping on the serpent. Like it's even right down to that
Yeah.
symbology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a school, as you can see, there's a kids' playground in the background.
Hmm.
Right. And so that's the level that they actually took it to in a small town like Gympie. But again, you've got to,
Mm.
with the polygonal masonry wall and then the polygonal masonry echoes that you see around Gympie, you've really got to question the Masonic heritage of Gympie, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep.
Or what is the true purpose, right? Because the other thing about the Masons, and the story goes with the Australia, that Captain Cook was a high level Mason. He knew the language of the symbols. He was out exploring, and he could actually talk to the indigenous here through the universal language, or what was left of the universal language of symbols, or that they understood, right? The elders
Okay.
still understood back in the 1700s.
Yep.
And the fact that they were looking for something, right? That yes, they were trying to find new lands and conquer the world. However, they were looking for stuff.
Hmm.
It's an interesting thing. One of the theories I had many moons ago was that okay, so the northern hemisphere is about to be destroyed by a cataclysm. Okay, what's the story? The story is we know it's coming. The story is we know it's coming. Build the ark, build the boat, survive. All the above, right?
Hmm.
If the northern and we agree that the thing that's missing from all these megalithic temples, the pyramids, the stuff throughout Southeast Asia, for want of a better description, is the power crystal, right?
Hmm.
Whatever actually activates these temples for whatever reason it is.
Hmm.
And again, I love that term because it's a little bit crazy. However, that's what we're talking about. It's the power crystal, whatever.
Yep.
That's the thing that powers whatever they actually really are.
Yeah.
If you were going to hide a bunch of power crystals for safekeeping because most of the northern hemisphere and everything was going to get destroyed,
Mm.
maybe you'd hide it on the biggest individual landmass in the south that was going to be furthest away from the destruction.
Hmm.
Maybe,
Possibly.
maybe.
Yep. I don't know if I mentioned my theory about the power source for all of those things. I might
No,
have mentioned it before.
tell us,
So
mate. Tell us.
my theory is there could be and there could be multiple, but the Ark of the Covenant.
Definitely.
So I may have mentioned that before, but that's always been something that I've considered because of the amount of power that it has.
Yep.
Um, and you know, so if you talk about all of the stories in the Bible, and I'm not, that great with all this stuff because I haven't read it and I don't follow a lot of it, but
So you understand that you are now a sophomaniac like me.
100%.
Now, a sophomaniac
Yeah,
is someone who has the delusion they're intelligent. So now that we've got
correct.
that
Yeah,
out of the way,
100%.
don't fluff around.
Yeah.
Tell us
No,
your theory. What do you
so
think?
well that's my theory is you look at the size of the big stone box in the pyramid.
Yep.
Depending on how big, like, and look, I don't know the dimensions of the Ark of the
It's
Covenant.
close.
It's
So if you
it's
go,
it would be
it's very
similar.
close. If you go
Yeah.
back, so me and Loomis did the Ark of the Covenant,
Mhm.
and that's a really good episode actually in the back catalogue. The Ark of the
Yep.
Covenant. It's one of the collaborations I did with Loomis, and we spoke
Mhm.
about this very fact that
Yep.
depending on how you measure the Ark, does it fit inside the king's sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid? Yes,
Mm. Mm.
yes, it does. Uh,
Correct. Yeah, and it would have been with the handles on because you couldn't lower it down any other way. So,
yeah, and the thing is, it wouldn't have necessarily been with the long handles. Everyone gets caught
true.
on it
Yep.
was long handles. No, it doesn't. You just have little handles to
Yep.
slot it in. It
Yep.
had long handles because they were carrying it across the bloody desert.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason it had long handles.
And depending on how heavy it was and how many people you had to carry it, all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
Could it be carried by two people or was it requiring 10?
mm,
So, but then you've also got all the other, pyramids around the world as well, which may have had their own source of power, which could have been another one.
mm.
And what happens if one of these things exploded? You know, um, was that the cause of a lot of problems around the world? You know,
Well,
um,
I think the fight to control them was definitely some of the
mm,
issues around the world. I
yep,
mean, you could talk about, there's fields of trinitite in Africa,
yep,
which is
yep,
the nuclear glass.
yep.
There is, where is it? Sodom and Gomorrah. Where's
Yep.
that? Wherever,
Uh,
yeah, you know what I'm talking
oh
about.
no, yeah, the Pillar of Salt and
The Pillar of Salt, but
yep,
that part of that city looks like it's melted as well.
yeah, that
And the
was
thing is,
it.
you dig into the Ark, and like, you want to get into some weird stuff. Start looking at the melted castles of Europe.
Mhm.
That's a weird rabbit hole.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
was obviously dragons. However, yeah,
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely dragons.
Well,
Yeah.
draw me a dragon if you haven't seen one.
Correct. Yeah.
And why do all dragons look the same? And
Mm,
every single animal on the Chinese zodiac is real, apart from the dragon.
yeah.
We don't want to go on about dragons.
But no, stop while we can. But yeah, no, I think there's definitely a link there somewhere.
Mm,
And obviously, the Knights Templar and um, moving the Ark of the Covenant from here to there and everywhere, and whether the Ark is the actual Templar treasure or part of it or what have you, whether it's the power that.
Or whether it's part of the great treasure that apparently moves around the world. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Or whether it's the source of, whether it was the church wanting that power, um, and that was the reason that they destroyed it and why the Templars moved the treasure,
Mm.
and why they can't find it. Maybe it wasn't this giant, massive, priceless treasure. Maybe it was the Ark of the Covenant, and they've
And
put it.
the
Yeah,
story always has been that there was multiple arcs as well. There wasn't
correct.
ever
Yeah,
just one arc. There was always multiple arcs,
yeah.
and they were often used in war. I mean, there's
Hmm.
I think, geez, it'd be in one of my notepads here, no, in one of my
Mm,
notebooks that have like 10 pages of the arc research that I did.
yeah.
And well, I think it's Graham Hancock did a book on it.
Mm,
Is it the Sign and the Seal? Is that the Ark of the Covenant one? But
could
yeah,
have
there's
been. Yeah,
it's I think it's Ethiopia where they've
yeah,
still actually got a dedicated religion to the Ark,
yeah.
to the point
Tw
where the priests wear big boxes on their heads and shit. Like
mm,
it's pretty
mm.
crazy stuff.
I've read. I might have been a Graham Hancock thing, but it was an interesting thing where he said that the monks that actually guard that church guard it for whether it's their entire life or whatever.
Yeah, you've got to be
Yeah,
selected. You've got to
yeah,
have no
yeah,
incumbents. Like basically, orphans get selected,
yeah.
and they wear these chains around their neck
Mm,
that he proposed that was trying to ward off the radioactive
yeah, the
signature or
radiation.
the energies, the radiation or energy signature that
Yeah,
the arc actually gives off. And to this day, no one's allowed in. Right? They
exactly.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's yeah, and yeah, it's like two dudes on rotation for
Mm.
30 until they die,
That's
basically.
right, yeah. And I think there was a rumor that they did die of radiation poisoning or something along those lines, or
Yeah,
they
so
had
they
high levels of radiation in their bloodstreams.
they
Yeah.
looked like they were being decimated by
Mm.
being around constant energy source of some description
Yep.
similar to that. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And look, I think I've always thought about that. Like, I know we
Mm.
started that with where are they going to hide it? Would it be down here?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly. And look, the with all the attention around Antarctica at the moment, it could be all be down there. They could have,
Yeah, that is true
and
too. Like they could.
that comes into the Nazis and World War, whatever it was too, I think.
Mm. Oh, look,
Um,
we're
yeah.
beginning to spiral. Let's
Let's
refocus.
get back onto focus. Yeah. But
Yeah, look, everything's connected, man. Everything's
hmm.
connected. This is the whole thing, right?
Yep.
So this is in Australia as well,
Hmm.
right? And even we come back to the iconography. And obviously it's reversed, right? You look at it from the outside, it's Mary on the left,
Yep.
uh, the masculine on the right, and obviously the person you can never be in the middle, right? I
Mm.
mean, the only thing that is actually true is that it's the left and the right.
Mhm.
We're supposed to be in the middle,
Yep.
not the poor bloke hanging off the cross. And it just goes on and on and on. Right. We
Mm.
went into the Corwood Arches as well. We'll probably come back to that through the missing link. Oh, we got back to the God Self icon. So I think I can probably share that there. I just wanted to share with you and
Mm.
the listeners that, and that's like, that is a snippet, right? That is of all the um, research that I did and all the things that I went through, that was just a snippet of what was actually available. It echoes and echoes and echoes. And I think Angus and I said last time, it's like once you start to see, you can never actually unsee, right?
Yeah.
It constantly, it's always there.
Mm.
And, I'm sure as we continue through the book, we're going to see more echoes of this. Have you got anything you wanted to discuss, mate, about anything we've seen before we jump into the book, or we're okay?
No, I think I'm good. Like, I mean, apart from like looking back at the at St Mary's in Sydney, like I've been there. I guess I think recently in the last couple of years. And I think I sent you guys a bunch of photos as
Yeah,
well
you
while I
did.
was
Yeah,
there.
when you're on a mission. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I just happened to be in there as well, but I was also, in and around the underground of St James Station and got to go and check out a couple of cool things that they were talking about opening up all that underground area as well. But yeah,
Well, that's where when we went to Gosford, we wanted to do that.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but
we couldn't get tickets. Yeah,
yeah. Anyway, but that's it.
yeah. I think probably the only thing about these older style of Masonic level buildings that were built. I mean, as I said, make it make sense to me as far as
Mm,
why you would go to that trouble in a town of 10,000 people.
mm,
Like, make it make sense. I don't, it doesn't, or even 20,000 people. Like, it's curious. I didn't know that it got burnt down in 1865.
mm,
There was a lot of fires around the 1860s, 50s, and 60s around the world. There's a weird rabbit
mm.
hole there if you start digging into that one, where a lot of the old world was wiped out. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, do we go? I mean, there's a whole conversation about did the Dutch actually settle here?
yeah.
Because I knew a guy that was doing that research, and he found all this evidence of the Dutch actually created a city in Sydney, and that's the
Mm,
reason there's still
mhm.
Dutch windmills and stuff everywhere around the place.
Here's something interesting. So I just Googled because this it just popped into my head. What year was the mud flood? 1862.
There you go.
So was it all connected?
And
Was
so
it?
Google
Yeah.
told you 18. What's the
Well,
go?
that's what I just the first thing
What's
there
the AI
was
overview?
the Great Flood. Where was that? Sacramento. That was 1862. So hang on, let's have the mud flood. What year was that? The history of human resets. 1834, 1857. Sorry, the Great Mud Flood was 1834. The Great Plasma Event was 1587. It's interesting.
The Great Plasma Event was 1587.
Yeah, so there's a book by Donnie Davis called The Secret History of Human Resets. And I think that goes into Tartaria and all those places. And when, was it the World Trade Fair when or something when
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
they had
yeah.
that
There's all
massive
those
thing and
trade
then
fairs. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
So that was yeah, but again, this is just what Google's throwing in front of me.
Mm.
Um,
Where do you
yeah.
sit on Tartaria?
Look, I it could have been.
Mm,
I think it's just one of those things that you've got to keep an open mind about. It goes, it's all like everything else, like Atlantis and
mm.
um what was the other one?
Lemuria. There's
Lemuria. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess these stories have got to come from somewhere.
Mm,
And if the thing that I think is that if people are convinced that the Bible is true, then
yeah.
why can't everything else be true?
Mm,
You know,
that's true.
and why are they trying to convince us so much that the Bible was true? Are they trying to
Mm.
distract us from what the actual history was?
Yeah. Well, it's
Um,
the history is
yeah,
written by the victor, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
they wrote the Bible, they wrote everything in there, whatever
Mm,
their image whatever they wanted their image to be, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the mud flood is the theory is a component of the larger Tartarian Empire. Um, yeah, the mud flood apparently buried cities in the 1800s
Yeah.
sometime. So that could be anywhere between 1830 to 1850, 60. But
Well,
because yeah.
yeah, the curious thing about the Mudflood, a bit of evidence from Loomis, is he's got family that sort of travelled the world, and he has diaries, or they have records from that time, because everyone wrote a diary and
Mm,
kept letters and sent letters and stuff like that, and they don't mention the Mudflood at all in any of
yeah,
the
okay.
letters or the correspondence, which is fascinating because you'd think if it
Mm,
was such a global event that it'd be mentioned.
mm,
However, that being said, another piece of anecdotal evidence, I went around to a mate of mine's place who's a bit of an eclectic collector of weird things,
yeah.
and he had one of those like 1930s. It was like a decanter set, but it was a globe,
Mhm.
and you sort of flip the globe up, and there's like all the bottles and the glasses and like ice and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
It was a map of the world, and on that map was Tartaria.
Interesting.
I've got photos of that, and even
Mm,
the
mm.
inside of it was very weird, and it was genuine from like the 1920s or 30s or something like that. It had lasted that long.
Okay. Interesting.
So and this is
Mm,
I'd love to, the 1920s and the 1930s. I'd love to find all the books from that period, because so many things were open to being talked about, and then World War II happened,
mm.
and everything got bombed, and they basically wrote the story that we now live under now. That's basically
Exactly.
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think World War One was where, actually, it's probably before that, but where things started to really change.
Mm.
Because it basically designed Europe. Like it just destroyed
Mm.
a lot of it. And you got to wonder why. Was that a strategic move by the powers that be to
Look,
wipe all
man,
that out? It's again,
there's so much to talk about
mm,
there, and the
yeah,
more that I think about it, the weirder it gets. To be
yeah,
honest, the
that's
more
right.
I think about it, the weirder it gets. And yeah, was it wiping out the old ways?
Yeah.
Like 'cause it's like the World War I was just a fight between cousins, really, with new
Hmm.
toys, and they
Yep.
just wanted to wipe everything out.
Yep.
World War II was started with a false flag event.
Hmm.
The reason that Hitler invaded Poland actually never happened, and the British went into free Poland and then never did.
Mm.
Like it's a weird thing, right?
Mm. Mm.
Looking through the lens of history, it's a very strange thing, and it could be a conversation for another night. However,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's do a few pages of the missing link, mate. See what it's
Let's,
got for us tonight,
let's
and then at least we can say we did what we said we were going to do.
correct. Yeah, we have a habit of doing this when I get on the show.
No, no, it's okay. I like it. Well, no, I wanted to do the Aussie stuff with you anyway. So,
Yeah, cool.
I wanted to have that conversation. So we'll jump in and
Mhm.
let's see how we go. All right. Okay. Cool. Can you see that, sir?
I can.
Excellent. I want to start with the quote from Carl Jung because that's where we were when we left. Unfortunately, our Western mind, lacking all culture in this respect, has never yet devised a concept nor even a name for the union of opposites through the middle path, that most fundamental item of inward experience. It is at once the most individual fact and the most universal, the most legitimate fulfillment of the meaning of the individual's life. I must get that, the collected works of Carl Jung. I think that's going to
Mm.
be a good
Mm.
idea. I don't have that one. I should probably put that on the list.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like one of my favorite quotes that relates to this and relates to all the research is the fact that the fact that science and spirituality are deemed separate does a disservice to them both.
Yes.
Because they're not separate, they are one and the same.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, quantum computers now are going
Proving that.
going through time or stopping time or doing something to make the
Yeah.
when you read that stuff, it's like, what do you mean it stopped time or it had to go backward in time to in the amount? Yeah, I don't understand.
Mm. Mm.
All right, let's keep going. The reason why we in the West have not yet devised a concept nor even a name for the union of opposites through the middle path is because the art of balancing opposites, forming the triangle and awakening the third eye is nothing short of the lost secret of Freemasonry. And the thing is, I think he's going to say Freemasons are everything. I like everything else. I think the Freemasons inherited or were given
Hmm.
or stole um, the secret, right? I don't think because before the Masons it was the Dionysian architects. Before you
Hmm.
know what I mean. There's a thing that goes back and back and back. So I don't.
Yeah.
It might be
The,
the lost secret. I've got no doubt about that. However, it's not just Freemasonry. I think there's
no.
echoes of this all over the planet.
Yeah.
The order was the torchbearer of this pagan ancient practice during Europe's Dark Ages, when being outside of Christianity meant death by Inquisition. That's true.
Mm.
When you awaken your third eye, you suddenly realize that you are divine and eternal already. You don't need a go between in the form of a priest or church to help you reach heaven. You understand that heaven is inside you, it is you. I'm going to read that again. When you awaken your third eye, you suddenly realize that you are divine and eternal already. You don't need a go between in the form of a priest or a church to help you reach heaven. You understand that heaven is inside you, it is you. That is a very powerful statement. And there's a reason I read that twice, is because that is what this triptych research actually taught me. This is that it's we are God. You are
Mm.
God. We are. Everybody is, right? To a degree. We are slices of source energy in a meat suit experiencing the third dimension for a little while. That's what
Mm.
we are. That's what
Yeah.
we are. This third eye wisdom is precisely the great secret that has been excised from Freemasonry. Many American authors living and writing a century or more ago understood the link between the third eye and Freemasonry. In 1918, American physician George Washington Carey wrote, "The all-seeing eye." Give me 2 seconds here. The all-seeing eye. There we go. Uh, This Angus's mic was on. I was like, "There's a bit of static in my ears. It's picking up the rain."
Yeah.
Um, the all-seeing eye. This is the eye of Freemasonry, the third eye. While I am incredibly formed that few Masons understand their own symbols. The fact remains that they use them, and it was sort of curious when I spoke to my grandfather very later in his life about joining the Masons and stuff like that. I didn't feel I feel that he well, obviously was a Mason. He was a high level Mason. I've got the medals and
Hmm.
everything to prove it. And I don't, However, he didn't seem to have any, or he didn't want to express to me in that moment any sort of esoteric knowledge. And it didn't feel like when I started to question him, because I was already researching it, I'd already done a fair bit of research by the time I spoke to him about it before he passed. When I sort of approached him about these things, he didn't say much, but also he didn't appear like he knew much either. So, like you said, it splits, right? As you
Mm.
say, you get to the 33rd degree and you either stay in the lodge that you
Mhm.
were in and you represent other lodges in the area by performing that service and keep the connection, blah, blah, blah. But then there's the other side to everything.
Yeah. So I have heard this because I technically still am, but haven't been for a long time. I am a Mason. So
Mm,
I'm a third degree Master Mason. Now, um, esoteric Freemasonry is a branch of its own. Um, and I've just Googled it, explores the mystical, symbolic, and philosophical underpinnings,
mm,
often linking it to traditions like Hermeticism, Gnosticism, and alchemy. So it's a whole different element of Freemasonry that
mm.
and depending on which path you take, if you take the Scottish Rite
Yeah.
or the other one, I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah. There's a
So,
couple of different
and
ones, isn't there?
excuse me for being very ignorant on this one. Um, it's not something that's highly regarded by a lot of people,
Mm,
unless you are a very spiritual person.
mm.
And this is something that was told to me a long time ago as well. And sorry to get off track again,
No,
but
you're right.
people need to understand that with masonry, it's not a religious thing.
Mm,
One of the requirements is that you just have to believe in a higher power.
mm,
So you can be any religion whatsoever. Like I knew Muslim Masons, I knew Buddhist Masons and Christian Masons, Catholic, whatever. It didn't matter
mm.
because that didn't come into it. What you did in that space was for yourself. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Um,
The being part of the Masons was a different thing. Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Mm,
But the esoteric side of things was something that not a lot of, I guess, mainstream Masons got into. So,
mm.
and that was the way it was told to me by, I think he would have been a 23rd, 24th degree Mason at the time.
Yeah.
And even he sort of turned his nose up at it a bit.
Mm.
He said that was I can't remember the exact word, but it was something along the lines of the loonies or something like that.
The heretics.
Yes. Um, there's a good chance that your grandfather didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's right. And I
So
did get
yeah,
that. I did feel that when I spoke to him about it. So
yeah.
it's interesting. Where were we? Du-du-du-du-du. In 1924, American author and Eastern Star leader Grace Morey wrote, "The all-seeing eye, also emblematic of the third eye in the human being, has been found amid the ruins of every civilization." Very true.
Mhm.
We've seen the twin towers of Gothic cathedrals symbolize the pairs of opposites. If we follow the twin towers down to the ground, we see they terminate in the twin outer doors of the triptych. I call these the doors of opposites. We just saw some evidence of there. I mean, and look, if you look at those three churches, the one in Sydney echoes that a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like it's
definitely,
very
certainly
close.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, very close. Yeah. Um, and so Reims, Leon, and Notre Dame. Yeah.
Hmm.
So actually, they're not that far apart. If you look at the one in Sydney and then you look at these ones,
Mm.
they're not that
Yeah,
far apart at
very
all, are they?
similar. No.
Very similar. Looking at them back to back.
Hmm.
A third larger door is centered midway between these twin outer doors. This third larger door unites the doors of opposites into a three-in-one trinity, just as the apex point of a triangle unites its two twin lower points, and just as the circle unites the twins yin and yang. In fact, a massive circle, a rose window, crowns the center door of the triptych, signifying the soul, which is the rose window or
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
flower of life
Yep.
or the daisy of death, depending on which way you look at it. Uh, Also, the flower of life, and I think I've got to make an animation of this. Actually, there's got to be a way
Mm.
to make an animation of it. But if you do the supposed orbit of Nibiru through the solar system, and you put the solar system in the middle with the sun in the middle, the circles around, 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 then you do that thing in the Nibiru and you keep going around. What are those things that we had when we were kids because we didn't have smartphones?
The
You do the swirls and the curls. You had like a little set and you had the pen. You
the
would
etch
run
a
it around.
sketch thing,
Etch a sketch
or
is one. No, the one
yeah.
it had like the cogs and it'd make flowers of
Oh, the
light,
spirals, and yeah,
spirals.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yep,
yeah. If you
yep.
do that with the orbit of Nibiru, supposedly, it turns
Mhm.
into the flower of life.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
I actually I had that epiphany and I drew it.
Mm.
It's in one of the notebooks here somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
The rose window is circular because a circle has no beginning and no end, a perfect symbol of our eternal soul, centered as it were between the twin towers of our body's right and left halves. Beams of flowers, light, and life radiate from the rose window as all life radiates outward from our soul or source. Author Michael Rose, who has devoted his life to studying rose windows, tells us the rose window is a representation of perfection, balance, and harmony of the purified soul. Michael Rose, Ugly as Sin, 2009. He actually has some pretty cool references to books in the last episode as well. It's like, oh, it's hard to keep up, like write down all the books that he's
Mhm.
referencing. Like you need to add these to the library sort of thing.
Yeah.
Prince Charles. Okay, I don't know if I'd take, or King Charles, I suppose, as it is
Mhm.
now. I never thought that would happen, by the way. But anyway, it's a different conversation.
Just
Yeah.
depends on, because I mean, I don't know, but he could be, being of royalty, he's probably privy to things that we're not,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
And he's a high
Um,
level Mason as well.
yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
actually, someone once said to me, just with regarding Masons, is that there is actually more to it than what we actually think,
Absolutely.
and that if you look at it in terms of the degrees, there are 33 degrees in Masonry, but there are 360 degrees in
A
the
circle.
Revolution.
Yeah.
So Freemasonry might only be that much of it. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
I
Like,
get you. Yeah, like it's that much of a
yeah,
circle. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
the
that
rest of it
slice of the
is
pie.
correct. Yeah, all secretive.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
fascinating thought. Yeah.
Actually, something else just popped into my head was that it'd be interesting to see what Terrence Howard's take on Triptych would be.
It would be interesting
It
actually.
would be, yeah.
Mm.
But I mean, he's just like the rest of it. I think his theories are very bold and very out there. But he's still
Oh,
doing
look,
he's doing
he's
some interesting things.
he's doing some interesting things.
Mm,
Yeah, and his theories are very out there. He uh, what do they call that? It was like the person who has the crazy ideas, like
mm,
super genius, but can think laterally and think about different ideas. That's called something.
yeah,
He's one of those guys,
yeah.
and not all ideas are good ideas,
No.
right? Like it's yeah, famously Einstein got three of his famous equations wrong. We've proven them
Hmm.
wrong, right? So
Yep.
it's like it
Yep.
doesn't just because you've had one good idea doesn't mean all your ideas are good.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's just a thing that goes around.
Mm,
What does
mm,
Charles say? Let's see. Prince Charles, in a passage describing Chartres Cathedral from his 2010 book Harmony, explains how the duality of the two soaring towers is united by the rose window. The entrance into the building through the west front, which comprises of two soaring towers, one with the symbol of the moon upon it, and one bearing the symbol of the sun, and beneath them sits one of the most spectacular of all rose windows, symbolizing the uniting of the apparent duality represented by the symbols of the sun and the moon. I think we can answer the question as to whether Charles knows more because he just told us,
mm.
right?
Yes, he does.
He just told us.
Yep.
He just told us. The triptych center door thus signifies the soul within us, or the God within us, resting, as it were, between the doors of opposites, between the twin opposing halves of our physical body. The triptych, in fact, a three-in-one symbol, just like the triangle, just like the Choijitu or yin yang, the entire triptych itself, its three door entrance into Gothic cathedrals represents Carl Jung's union of opposites, through the middle path. When we unite the opposites by taking the middle path, we find our soul within or God within, hence the God image in the center doorway between male and female opposites on the Rockefeller's center's main facade, one of the most striking esoteric triptych in modern times. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is esoteric.
I'm just Googling it now.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to have been commissioned and designed by brilliant minds of the past who understood Masonry's authentic sacred science of three almost a century ago. See the male and female atop the doors, the male on the right, the female on the left. These doors of
Mm.
opposites flank the god in the third. Incredibly, the god holds a compass, a key Masonic symbol.
Mm.
Is it really incredibly? What did you say was the Rockefellers? Is it really that incredible? It's not really that incredible if you think about it. The Rockefellers is for sure part of the, you know what I mean? They are one of the 11 families or whatever that control
Yeah,
it.
the elites.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's like, just look, I mean, it's a, if that's not a penis extension of a building, I don't know what is.
yeah, that's
But
right.
but
I think he's
you're right.
compensating for something.
He does that does have yes, yeah, so 3 6 no. Yeah, there's definitely elements of it, but I
Yeah,
don't think
there's
it's
esoteric nature to it for
that's right.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, look, there's a lot of things that are built that way. It
Mm.
doesn't mean that it's, anything special. And look,
Well,
it's
no,
definitely not gothic.
if you look at
So,
the share screen, what Richard's done for us is you can
yeah.
see he's actually referred it back to the Masonic symbolism
Mm,
directly,
mm,
right? I mean, again, the Rockefellers being Mason or knowing the Masonic secret or knowing the secret of the secret religion, is that
yeah.
really a surprise? Right? Money buys you power and secrets, man. That's the whole
Yep.
idea, right? That's, yeah.
Yep.
Who is this God? Why is he in the center? What hidden wisdom is this saying about the triptych's third middle door? The answer is that the God in the center is you, the real you, the inner you, the eternal you, the non physical spiritual you that was never born and never dies. The God is the part you don't see in the mirror and can't detect with your five senses. It's your soul between the male and female halves of your animal body. In this portrait, the God within is using a Masonic compass to balance the opposites, practicing the sacred science, which is what you must do. The same 3-in-1 depiction, complete with male on the right, female on the left, and God Buddha in the center, is featured on this brilliant sculpture of the Buddha shown below, carved in the 8th century inside a sacred cave in Mumbai, India. And this is the thing, it's all the same.
Mm,
It
mm,
all echoes, right? I had an interesting discussion with someone that who was Indian and said that their pantheon of gods, if you zoom out and look at it, matches the gods in Rome,
mm,
matches the gods in Greece, matches the
mhm,
gods of the Norse, matches the gods in Egypt. It's all the same, man.
mm.
It's all
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
It's the same story, right? And the thing is, if you think about those different cultures, now they have separate religions that separate them. Whereas once upon a time, that was not the case. They were
That's right.
joined by a singular idea because it
Yep.
was all the same.
Exactly.
It's all the
Yeah.
same. Joseph Campbell explained the statue in his video series titled The Power of Myth. The mask, represents the middle, and the two male and female profiles represent the opposites. Whenever one moves out of the transcendent, one comes into the field of opposites. These two pairs of opposites come forth as male and female from the two sides. One is eaten from the tree of knowledge, not only of good and evil, but male and female of right and wrong. They always come in pairs, and put your mind in the middle. Did that make a lot of sense to you? That
It,
bunch of
do-
words. It was a
it,
bit
it,
weird.
it sort of does if you, I mean, look, it's a lot of confusion in there as well, but yes, it does make
Yeah, I
sense.
can see. Well, look, they always come in
Yeah,
pairs, and your mind in the middle for sure.
correct. Yeah.
The Buddha here is in fact opening his Anya chakra or third eye chakra according to the yogic practice of Kundalini yoga. Kundalini in Sanskrit means enlightenment, a reference to the illumination one experiences when seeing the soul. Actually, you should have a chat to Daniel Mengel about Kundalini. He reached it.
Okay.
He didn't come back for a while, but he reached it.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Lee Sanella, psychiatrist and co-founder of the Kundalini Clinic in California, tells us Kundalini is the real cause of so-called spiritual and psychic phenomena, the secret origin of all esoteric and occult doctrines. the master key to the unsolved mystery of creation, the inexhaustible source of philosophy, art, science, and the fountainhead of all religious faiths, past, present, and future. Whew, that's a big statement.
It
That is a
is
big statement.
massive.
Look, I don't think Kundalini is she's right. The secret origin, it is right, but I don't think it's the Kundalini. However, it's understanding that you are the God self and seeking balance within yourself and then feeling that
Mm.
balance, right?
Hmm.
That is what it is about, I'm sure.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think, me and Angus talked about it like the flow state, right? Like you would have been
Mm.
in flow state on your bike, right? We've
Yeah.
all been in flow state on the bike,
Hmm.
where it's not that you and the bike are one. It's not
Yes.
actually you are an extension of each other, and
Yep.
every time you're in the flow state, you recognize it and then you pop out, right? It's
Yeah,
like
that's right. It's
as
like,
soon as
yeah.
as soon as you realize that you're in the flow state, that's when it
Mm.
ends, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
because you've let go, right? You've let
That's
go
right.
of that. You yeah, you just let go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in Western terminology, we call it union with God, a blasphemous practice in Christianity, punishable by death during the Dark Ages in Europe. Yeah, exactly, dude. You can't be your own person.
Mm.
That's ridiculous. The third eye, or Anya chakra, forms the sixth of seven major chakras. The chakras are energy centers aligned in ascending order from the base of the spinal column in the pelvis to the top of the head. Yeah. All the chakras are connected from the lowest to the highest through a central channel called the Sushumna, Shush, Shush, Sushumna, which parallel, yeah,
Yep.
that's Sushumna, which parallels the spinal column. The two opposing channels, Ida and Pingala, run to the left and right of the Shushumna, but do not connect with the chakras. Negatively charged Ida is our left channel, lunar and feminine. Positively charged Pingala is our right channel, solar and masculine. Ida and Pingala correspond to the Boas and Jacob columns, the yin and yang, as I show from this image, which I put together and published in written in stone. Yeah,
I'll just correct it. It's Jarkin, not Jakin.
Jacob, Jarkin,
Jarkin. Yep.
Jarkin. Okay,
Jarkin. Yes.
Jarkin. Interestingly, there are 33 vertebrae in the human spinal column, which explains the Masonic hierarchy of 33 degrees, the highest level in
Hmm.
the order reached when one becomes a 33-degree Mason. I find some of this stuff along Bo
Hmm.
only just, I want to see whether he diverts from it's the Masons, right? Because I think,
Yeah.
again, it is, I'm not saying it's not.
Hmm.
However, it's so much more than that as well, I think.
But see, the thing with it, and look, it's the same with everything else, is that Masonry officially, Freemasonry started in 1717.
Yeah.
And yes, it goes back to the Temple of Solomon, which were the Order of the Masons or whatever it was they were called. Um, but that's not as old as Egypt.
No,
It's not as old as um,
Samaria,
Sumeria. It's not as old as Atlantis. Like it's very modern.
Rome, make it
Rome. Yeah, that's
Rome,
right. Yeah.
Athens, take
Yeah.
your pick,
Yeah. Yeah.
Constantinople,
Correct. Yes.
Carthage that no longer
Yes.
exists,
Yeah.
but
That's right.
like there's so
Viking.
many. Yeah,
It just goes way and way back further.
yeah.
Um, I was listening to something the other day, but um, and if you go into the idea of an ancient lost culture or
Mm,
civilization,
mhm.
it goes further and further back,
Yeah.
and it's just Freemasonry. Look, I think I can see what he's doing here. He's trying to say that Freemasons have all the answers, and I
Mm,
can tell you that they don't.
mm,
They really don't. Even though I don't know, but I don't think. Honestly, I think the church has probably got more answers than they do.
yeah.
And I think it's just like every other society around the world
Mm,
is that they have bits and pieces, but at the end of the day, it's all just made up. It's all just theory.
yeah. Yeah.
It's
We
like
don't
science.
actually
It's
know.
like
Yeah.
physics. It's all just ideas and
Mm, mm.
anyway.
Keep going. Kundalini yoga was once a key part of the great work of secret societies like Freemasonry. Third eye symbols on some Oddfellows regalia seem to confirm this. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Excuse me. There's all these. all these esoteric secret societies shared a symbolism that
Mhm.
they obviously took from the Masons. I think a lot of these secret societies, whoever started them, probably wanted to be a Mason and wasn't allowed or got kicked out or something. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
it's an extension, right?
Yes.
The Oddfellows, like the Freemasons, not only depicted the eye symbol in their regalia, but also encoded the triptych pattern into their lodges and temples. Of course, they did. The triptych very elegantly conveys the ancient balance of opposites practice outlined above. In written in stone, which again I ordered and paid $60 for, I showed how all the triptych temples of antiquity reveal the same middle path wisdom, and I showed how they correlated with constructions, images, and ideas found in Freemasonry. In this book, I want to take things a step further by showing that the God Self icon is expressed in the same idea as the triptych in a way that is much more accessible to us today. Okay. Oh, look at that. We're onto the chapter. Okay. All right. Well, we only got through 10 pages, but maybe we,
Mhm.
if we end chapter one, we might pause there.
Sure.
Look, I'm curious to see where he takes it. Um,
Mm.
don't, uh, I wonder about Freemasonry. I wonder, I'm just going to stop share that there. I wonder,
Mhm.
Freemasonry, I wonder about, is it a convenient scapegoat, right? Is it the bad guy that everybody's looking for in the corner? It's like, oh, the
Mm.
Masons did it. Maybe. Did they? They might have done. And look, one of my favorite stories about my grandfather, he was a plumber and basically, and, my father and my uncle confirmed all this. Granddad never paid for a car. He was a Holden man through and through. He'd have a new model for a few years and then the new model would be taken away and a new one would rock up in
Mm.
the driveway. Right.
Yeah.
So, is there a business connection? Is there a community connection? Is there a level of connection and power through that sort of stuff? Yeah, I think so, very much so.
Mm.
However, I'm curious to ask you, how many men of your age were in the lodge when you were in it?
Um, 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
And
problem, man.
this was something that that yeah, and it is still a problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are probably still some people who are interested. Not look, don't get me wrong, I still am.
Oh, me too.
The reality for me though is that it's not a cheap, and I'm not trying to be critical, but it's not a, I mean, if you can afford it, great, do it.
Mm,
We had 4 people around my age. There was a one younger who actually introduced me to it,
mhm.
and 2 older, and we've all left. Um,
Really, no one stayed.
no one stayed, and that was I was talking to one of the older guys, and he was sort of saying it just got too weird for him, and which was strange because he was sort of, I thought he was very very open-minded.
Mm,
Um, turns out he wasn't. And that's
okay.
what I said. And as I said, I would love to go back if I could do it. It's a lot of commitment, a lot of time. Um, even though you only go to lodge once a month, um, you still travel around to other lodges,
And
and
you got to learn everything. There's
and you've got
time
to
and all that
learn.
sort of,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. There's books. There's all these things. You got to learn the secrets, as they say,
yeah.
um, and you got to remember all of those secrets. Like I think back to when I did my first and second and third degree. I don't remember any of that shit. Like I
Yeah,
can
right.
remember the bits and pieces.
You couldn't
There
tell me
were
what the
no,
secret words
no,
are now.
no, I couldn't. I mean, I can, but I'm not allowed. And I'll tell you off. I might tell you off camera, but I don't want to get in trouble.
Mm.
Um,
I've worked out most of them anyway.
that's right. It's not hard
Mm,
if you really look into it. And look,
mm.
you've probably got all those
I
answers in
do.
there
Yeah,
anyway.
I've got all the
Yeah,
little books. I've got all the things.
yeah,
Yeah, I've got all that. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and it's one of the things that, because I've heard a lot of people be very critical about them and say, look, they're cloak and dagger and they're doing devil worship and all this other stuff. It's not about that at all. It's really not.
Would it be
Um,
the thing? So my question is, could it be at the highest level of the esoteric side of any of these religions?
mm,
Are they practicing ritual? And look, yeah, you know.
Ritual is part of it, but I think there's a lot of misconception.
Mm.
Like one of the,
There's
yeah,
also the point that a lot of their symbols have been were demonized by the church and
correct.
called to
Yes.
be Satan, but when they
Yes.
actually aren't, they
They're
just had to
not.
demonize every symbol that they use to try and
Yeah.
maintain control and make sure that they,
Yeah.
no one ever did it. Right. As you
Yeah.
said, you could be, as it said earlier in the book, you could be burnt at the stake for
Mm, mm,
saying that you are, you don't need
exactly.
the,
Yeah.
the church in your life. Yeah.
Mm,
So,
mm. It's very one of the things, one of the jokes is that, when you go into the third degree, it's like, oh, who's bringing the goat? Like there's there's no sacrificial goat.
yeah.
But my understanding, and as I said, I'm only third degree, and there's a lot more to it. There's another 30 degrees.
Mm,
But it's a journey of self-discovery
mm,
and figuring out who you are, where you fit in the world, what your belief system is, and learning about yourself through symbolism.
mm, mm.
So that's
And
that's
yeah, that's true. Ooh,
that's
sorry,
my take on it.
just smashing stuff here.
That's all right, yeah. But yeah, that's the way I view it. And as
Yeah.
I said, I'd love to get back into it one day.
Oh,
Um,
would here's another perspective for you, right? So I got into a pretty extensive email conversation with a mason
mhm,
here in Queensland because I basically just asked some questions, right? And because Granddad was 33 degree, basically I walked straight in.
mhm,
It's not a
yep,
question, right? And look, if I look back into my childhood, he was clearly grooming me for Masonic, right?
mm,
I've still
mm,
got a mug. He gave me a mug. I remember having rulers and pencils and
yep,
all the paraphernalia that I could have. He would give it to
mm,
me, right? So
mm.
it was like if I look back, he was probably grooming me to join the guild if I had stayed in Ballarat. However, I had a conversation with this Mason. I talked to him about the show, what we're doing right now, and how we discuss and explore it, and all the ideas and some of the ideas that I had. This email trail went on for quite a few months. We're just exchanging letters basically,
Mm,
and he was a nice old fellow. I spoke to him on the phone a couple of times, and in the end, he said, "If you want to continue your research in the way that you do, don't do it."
mm.
Because if you do it, you can't actually tell anybody anyway.
That's right.
So it's like you're already on the path.
Mm,
You've already got most of it. If you want to
mhm,
continue to unlock the code,
mm.
then don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the difficult thing is that you take an oath when you join.
Mm.
You basically, you swear by, you
Who do
swear
you
on your
swear by?
life.
Oh, you swear on your
You
life,
swear
yeah?
on your life, essentially.
Mm.
Basically you say, I will not share these secrets. And, I haven't shared these secrets with anybody. It's
Mm.
it's a personal thing. And it's
Mm.
also it's a test of your moral compass as well.
Yeah, your
You know,
integrity. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. And, and out of respect, it's
Yeah.
it's yeah, like it's just something that, as a man
Mm.
you do. And I think, when the time is right, I'll head back, I'll go back.
Mm.
Um, but it's just not now. I'm on a different path at the moment. So
But I also wonder, will there be a back to go back to?
that's right.
If
Yeah.
there was four men of your age, around your age or younger, and none of
Mm,
you stayed the course. Like
yeah.
I do worry the same way that I worry about the indigenous stories, the true
Mm,
indigenous stories and nature of Australia.
mm,
Like I wonder, every elder I've ever met, I've offered them to record their story, even
mm,
not even to put out onto the podcast, just
yep.
to have it recorded so we have a copy of it so we can forward it
Mm,
on to people, just so we can keep the knowledge going. And I worry about this stuff because it's
mm,
like, you know, again, time and money. And if there's an expense involved in being a mason, which I didn't think about that, which there would
mm,
be, of course.
yep.
However, yeah, man, no one's got money for anything these
No,
days. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was, paying your dues, as they say, because that's what they're called.
Mm,
And it is, it does become, especially if you don't keep on top of it and it gets away from you.
yeah.
It starts to, to really get on top of you. And that's what happened to me. I couldn't afford to do it at the time.
Mm,
But like, yeah, I have the same worry is that, what's going to happen. It's the same with a family. Like, my grandfather died and I never knew his father and so on and so forth. So that history just starts to dwindle,
mm,
but then we then create our own histories
right.
and,
But our
um,
history doesn't seem to be one of the things that's been taken from us in the last in our generation.
mm,
Like there's not a like no one cares about antiques. No one cares about the fact that all this stuff
mm,
used to be made by hand. The generational stuff is
yeah,
slipping away. The family unit
mm,
has been modified and
that's
changed,
right. Yeah.
and it's yeah. Look, there's a wider conversation there.
Mm,
What I thought I would do, mate, is I'm just going to turn my camera off because the good people don't need to see my butt. I'm going to get up and get one of Bodie's books from
yep,
the shelf.
no problem.
If you want to entertain the people for 15 seconds, all right,
Sure,
I'll be
no
back.
worries.
I'll be back.
I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but
Just well, dude, now,
yeah, I'll tell you
just
about masonry. Yeah.
yeah, do that.
Look, I guess, if you are interested, and you do have a bit of an interest in history, it's definitely worth looking into some form of, of background, or, or some form of pathway to understand things a little bit clearer. Um, you don't have to go all into it. I think you just need to um, be open-minded to other alternative views, or not even alternative views, just different ways of doing things, and understanding a little bit about history. Um, so yeah, look at, and that can be through religion, it can be through, you know, different groups. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It just, be open-minded. That's the way I see it.
Got to explore your ideas, find your
Correct.
spiritual path,
Yes.
whatever that
Yeah.
is. And if you think
And
that's down that path, then follow it.
yeah, and even if it's just going out in the bush and going for a walk, that's my idea of church, or
Yeah,
my
well,
idea of,
that's one of
going
the
for a
things.
ride.
That's one of the things we connected on. Every time we
Yep.
go, and it's actually become a saying when we go hunting. Once we get out deep into the
Mm.
bush, it's like someone comes over one of the radios and goes, "Take me to church,"
Yeah.
right? And that's
Mm.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, mate, I'm conscious of your time,
It's all
and
right. I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm wide awake. We're going to sit up for another hour after this. So.
well, this is the problem with these conversations: is it stimulates thought pattern, right? And it's like
Yes.
it doesn't matter how long we talk after we turn the mic, after we
Mm.
turn the button off, we'll still be awake for an hour after that because
That's right. Yeah.
these conversations are stimulating with the mind, right?
Mm.
So one
Mm.
of the things we're bringing back is we're doing the Bodhi, and what'll happen is it'll culminate everything that we saw. And tonight I picked Warrior, The Way of Warriorhood. It's one
Mm.
of Bodhi Sanders' books, and he put in the front, "To Truth and Live with Honor" from Bodhi. Right, so
Nice.
he's coming back on the show in the very near future. We've just got to tee up a time.
Excellent.
He's in Colorado, so it's hard to
Mm.
make the clocks join together, but we'll get that
Yep.
done. So for those that can't see me, I am closing my eyes. I know, John, I'm not doing
Hmm.
anything. So all right, here we go. Okay. The superior man does not give up good conduct because the inferior man rails against him. The warrior is a man of principle. He doesn't set his principles aside when they seem inconvenient. Today, many people do just that. They use the actions of others to justify their own bad behavior. Statements such, "Well, I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't have shoved me, cursed me, been rude to me, etc., are commonly heard to justify bad behavior. The warrior should not allow the behavior of others to affect his own behavior, at least not as far as doing things that are against his principles." That's what we spoke about earlier today.
Mm. It was. Yes.
And here we go. The word friend is common. The fact is rare.
Mm.
An acquaintance is simply someone who you know or you are on friendly terms with, whereas the term friend is a much deeper meaning. To me, a true friend is a very rare person to find today. A friend is someone who will stand by you through thick and thin. When the chips are down, your friend is there with you. When the wolf is at your door, your friend is standing inside the door with you, ready to put his life on the line, side by side with you. He will stand with you, right or wrong. When you win the lottery, your friend is sincerely happy for you, just as he had won it himself. Are you getting the picture? I consider a friend to be much more than acquaintance. In truth, you are lucky to have one true friend in your life. If you have more than one, you are truly blessed. Realize this and don't make the mistake of thinking your acquaintances as your true friends. This is
Mm.
a common mistake that people make, and when their back is against the wall, they are shocked to find they really don't have friends, but only acquaintances that can disappear like a dove in a magic show. Strive to make sure that your true friends are men of character, honor, and integrity. Warriors are the best of friends. Because they live by a strict code of ethics, they refuse to let their friends down in their time of need. This would go against their nature and their code. When you've developed a true friendship with a warrior, you have a trusted friend for life. I think those
Mm.
that's more. I think that's more for me and you, to be
That
honest.
is, yeah, that's
Yeah,
and I look,
yeah,
I've got a lot of well, not a
yeah,
lot, but I've got a couple of different names popping through my head at the moment of people who I consider friends or brothers. And it's funny, like, so many, this is something that's a personal thing for me is that so many people will walk around and call you bro or brother or
mm,
whatever.
mm.
And that to me is a bit of an insult,
It can be.
like unless you truly mean it.
Hmm.
So I have a certain number of people that I call brother in my life.
Yeah, I don't
And
call everyone brother. No way.
no, that's right. And
No way.
it's and friend is also another one.
Yeah,
I've got mates and I've got
yeah,
acquaintances and associates and I've
yeah.
got friends and brothers.
Friends.
So
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and got to be discerning and understanding
Mm,
which ones they are. I think the other
correct.
thing is too is that not only was that we were having that conversation earlier today.
Mm,
However, whoever listens to this probably needs to hear that as well. Be aware of who you surround yourself with, right?
yep.
To be honest, I started unlocking the code to bring my brothers to me, right?
Hmm.
To create the tribe, to
Yep.
create the brotherhood. And that's what I've done, right? And I
Yes.
think, what I've tried to do, right? Which is the reason, that was the reason Brian's passing affected, one of the reasons Brian's
Mm,
passing affected me so much because he was part of the brotherhood, right? He
yeah.
was accepted into the brotherhood as one of them.
Mm,
And, that means a lot. Like, I call you brother. That's the,
yes.
and I do that with meaning.
Likewise.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
Right. So, understand what the difference is, guys.
Mm,
Right. Because the thing is, you can be sorely disappointed or you can meet people where they're at. As I say, you've got mates. Good to have fun
mm,
with mates. Go and have a
mm,
drink. Go to the pub. You know what I mean. Having fun with mates. There's nothing wrong with having fun with mates. Doesn't mean they're
mm,
friends or
mm.
brothers. It
That's
doesn't
right.
mean that. Right.
Yeah. There's a
So,
deeper connection there for sure.
mm,
And there's, I think, experiences, like I think about my friends and brothers now that I associate with, and there's only a handful.
oh yeah, not
I
many
used
at
to have
all, man.
loads of friends when I was
Yeah,
growing up.
yeah,
I could probably count them all on one hand.
yeah.
Probably there's probably a
Absolutely.
couple more, but yeah.
Yeah.
But these are people who have been through experiences,
Mm,
both good and bad.
mm,
Um, some have come and gone, and some are still around, and there's new ones as well.
mm.
So
And there's
yeah,
those brothers that you don't talk to for 5 years,
that's right.
and you pick up the phone or run into each other, and they're still
Mm,
your brother. Doesn't mean they were,
mm,
they're just doing their thing. But the thing
exactly.
is, it's about understanding that as well. It's like
Mm,
you're not needy. You don't have to. You know,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a difference, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's like, I remember when I gave up drinking. I found out who my friends were then.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're my wife and I are going through a similar thing at the moment, and that I'm I'm stopping drinking altogether.
Mm,
She is weaning herself off,
mm,
and that's a big thing for her. So I'm
mm.
very proud of her for that.
Absolutely, it's a
It
difficult
is a
thing to
hard
do, man.
thing,
It's a
yeah,
difficult thing
especially
to do.
when we live in a culture where
Well,
drinking
it's
is
it's the only socially
it's
accepted
yeah,
drug that we can partake in, really. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But for me, it's having to change my entire life around this injury and
Hmm.
the results of the injury and what has happened,
Mm,
and now having to, drinking has been a big part of that for the last 3 or 4 months, um, to get through the hard times,
mm,
and now stopping that and starting to train again.
Mm.
get myself back to a respectable level of fitness, is part of is the main goal. And
Mm.
unfortunately, drinking has to go.
Mhm.
Even soft drinks, like those things are dangerous.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
bad. So
Sugar or alcohol doesn't matter which one you're
yeah,
looking at. They're
yeah,
both
yeah.
they're both very addictive.
And
Sugar probably more so.
don't get me started on energy drinks because anyway.
Oh no, we don't.
I
What
know
the?
you dabble in the energy drinks,
I
but
know, man. I'm not. Yeah.
I
I look.
have
No, I'm trying to wean myself off as well. I
mm,
realised that I took the caffeine intake too far. Right.
yeah,
So I'm coming back around. It's fascinating. You come around on the cycle, and
mm,
I'm back to a learning cycle again.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I'm back to okay. What is the next set of lessons that need to be
mm,
implemented? Because it's I can see that there's certain things that I'm not doing that aren't serving me right. I understand
yeah,
that, and my caffeine intake is definitely one. I've been
yeah,
weaning myself off that over the
yeah,
last little while because it's
mm,
preventing me sleeping, all that sort of stuff. The
mm,
reality is those energy drinks are poison.
mm,
That's
mm.
the reality.
And look, I don't, I have to say I had one today. I'm very partial to the blue V's. They're
Oh
quite
yeah,
tasty.
yeah. Everyone's got their
Um,
flavor, right? I'll
that's
give you
right.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I had one today, and I had one yesterday, and I have to say I've had two headaches in 2 days,
Mm.
and I'm pretty sure that's why.
Do you do the
So
sugar-free ones, or you have the sugar and the
no, I
caffeine?
do the sugar. I
Oh
do
right,
the
yeah. No,
full
that'll get
strength.
you. That,
Yeah,
that'll get you a
yes,
headache. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm going cold turkey tomorrow.
yeah. Mm.
Um,
Black coffee,
uh,
man. Put a bit of honey
I
in.
don't drink coffee.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't drink coffee. I'm not
Yeah,
so
okay.
hot chocolate is my jam.
Fair enough.
Such
Fair
a
enough.
child.
Yeah. Oh, look. I don't know. I come from a long line of black coffee drinkers, but when I was working FIFO, you
Mm,
couldn't
mm.
guarantee milk, right?
That's
And
right. Yeah.
and straight tea tastes weird, so I'm not going to do that. And
Yeah.
you just learn how to drink black coffee. I'm
Mm.
fancy these days. I put a bit of honey in it. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I went to the shop today and bought some protein shakes and
yep.
more. Yeah. And so that's going to be my daily
Back on the
challenge,
path, mate.
back on the path. I've got
Yeah.
to do it because I've been sort of stalling on it for the last 2 weeks, and I'll get up and go for a walk, and I'll be all pumped up and ready to go, and then
Mm.
I'll fall off the wagon and start eating shit again, and then
It's hard, man. It's
it
hard.
is,
It's
yeah,
difficult, and you've got
yeah,
to you've got to create that space and make that time.
mm,
And I
mm,
think we've all got to do it, but we've also one of the things is it's about balance, really. I think
that's
it's
right, yeah,
because you've still got to be a husband and a father, and you provide,
mm,
and you can't be a lunatic about it. So
no,
finding the balance is interesting, right?
mm,
Jody
low,
Lowe, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I probably might have him back on just, but I don't think I'll talk. I'll just pull his string and let him go.
yeah. He's great at that, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, he's great at talking, but having a conversation is interesting. I did a couple
Yeah,
of shows with him early on,
yeah,
like a few years ago.
yep,
But he created a brand average as fuck, right? Because
yep,
it's like you
yep.
can't be the 1%, right? You know what I
No,
mean? Like if you are in the 1%
mm,
category of two or three things, that means there's two or three things in your life that probably aren't getting the attention that they
that's
need or
right.
deserve.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a hard one, man. It's a
Mm.
hard one.
And I think it's understanding that balance is not this, it's
Yes.
this,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and
Yeah, yeah.
it's riding the wave. And
And
sometimes it's like this, and
it's
sometimes it's like
basically the
this.
way I look at it is your aim is to reduce the waves,
That's right.
right? So you don't
Yeah.
want them to be massive,
Mm.
10-foot swells. You want them just to be little breakers, right? So
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
the positives and the negatives are closer to the middle than they are
Mm.
the extremes because the bigger the negatives, the longer it takes you to get back to the positives. It's the rubber band
Yeah.
effect.
That's
So
right.
it's
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends actually told me the other day, like, there's no such thing as balance. And I'm like, no, there is. You just got to learn what it is and
yeah,
how to manage it and
yeah.
how to just sort of cruise along. And I
Mm,
think when I said that, he went, "Oh yeah, no, it makes sense." And it's
mm.
just, it's a matter of taking things as it comes and accepting that there is going to be good and bad, and there's ups
There's a
and
stoic.
downs.
There's a if you truly
Mm,
understand stoicism, there's a
that's right.
stoicism to it. There's a
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of getting on with it and not complaining. I think
Mm,
that's, I've looked into Stoic principles as well, and I find them very intriguing.
mm.
Um, I find them also very difficult to manage because sometimes trying to be stoic
Oh,
in
it's
today's
hard.
modern world
It's
is very
difficult. It's
difficult.
very
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So Bodhi's new book is the Stoic Way. I can't remember what
mm,
the actual name of the title is, but I wrote a little piece for it. That's
yeah,
very cool. So as we're going to
yeah,
talk about and reading that, number one, it was very cool to have the privilege to read it before everybody else.
mm,
However, it did assist me through the grief process and understanding that there's more work to be done because
yep,
through this process I've seen myself deviate from that path of
mm,
balance, right? So,
yes,
I understand there's more work to be done there. So
mm,
it's, yeah, that might be a conversation for another day. Well,
definitely.
mate, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It was an interesting little conversation to end. That
Mm,
obviously, whoever needed to hear that, just hear those words and understand that balance is not. It's not. You know what I mean?
mm,
It's that's not what
yep.
it's not what you're
It's not
striving for.
perfect.
Right?
No,
It's not perfect. There is no such thing as perfection. In fact, it's the
no,
imperfect things that make it perfect.
exactly.
And yeah, understand who your friends are and who your
Mm,
brothers are, and have that delineation.
mm,
And just for me, what I do is I'm a lot better at meeting people where they're at,
mm,
right, and what level they're at, as far as what level of mateship do we have, right,
yeah,
and that's how you approach it.
yep.
It's So then, if you meet people where they're at the level of mateship that they're at, then you can have a good time. Doesn't matter,
Mm,
right?
exactly.
You can be cool. You can have a good time, meet them where they're at, have a bit of a laugh, and
Hmm.
move on, right?
Exactly.
So and not have to be attached and the other here's the key, or gives too much of yourself to that situation.
Mm. And I think that's a big thing is that not everybody is going to be on the same level and they're not going to understand
No,
the same things as you do. And that's okay. Like they don't have to. Like
that's right. They don't.
I have different conversations with different people all the time
Absolutely.
and it doesn't, at the end of the day, um, they don't have to believe what you believe
No.
in order to be a friend. Like we had this
Mm.
conversation today about, my I guess business partner, I guess with XY, um, who's not into any of this stuff
Mm.
at all, and he doesn't want a bar, but he's got his own thing going on. That's totally fine,
It's totally fine.
and
It's totally
that's
fine. You
yeah,
can't yeah, it doesn't matter.
no,
Right?
that's it.
There doesn't not make him, this whole team thing is half the
Mm,
problem. It's
yeah,
like we need to accept that everybody's different. We're not all
hmm,
going to agree,
yep,
but it's through that understanding that we can reach a middle ground somewhere. And,
exactly.
one of the things that teaching has taught me is that you can reach middle ground with anybody,
Mm,
right? With
mm,
anybody. If you read them for who they are and analyze for who they are, you can find a middle ground. You
yeah,
can find
yeah,
because the middle ground is being human, man. To bring it
exactly.
back to what we're doing, it's the
Hmm.
triptych, dude. It is
Hmm.
us. We are all
Yeah,
source energy experiencing this weird ass world for a little while. And
yep,
if you bring it back to the humanity, then
mm,
that's it, right?
yeah.
It's
Let go of our egos and just
uh
be.
yeah,
Yep,
just be. No, spot
yep.
on. Actually, I can't think of a better way to end it.
Mm.
Good on you, mate. Thank you,
Thanks, mate.
brother. Really
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. And much love, everyone. Enjoy this one, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Bye.